for whatever reason, and I'm gonna say warfare, or it was somehow spiritual, because I'm saying a lot of things that people don't want me to say. I know this for sure. So the ring light that was projecting my glow so much yesterday stopped working. I plugged it in today and it wasn't working. So I do have another one that doesn't have a stand. I don't know how I'm gonna get it to stand up, but it's kind of tied up right now. I got it working somehow. But I wanted to apologize for not giving a warning in relations to my live I did last night, because as it progressed and the Holy Spirit led me, it became the opening of a Pandora box. I started talking about a whole bunch of stuff that seemed to trigger one particular person anyway. I don't apologize for that. Like, that's your issue. But what I did is I apologized for not warning you, because I really didn't know the direction it was going to take. I just knew what the Lord led me to talk about, and that's what I did. Talked about certain things, and I'm really intrigued now in relations to where this will take me, because when I'm talking about a lot of things that I've noticed as a young, even when I was really really young, and there was no one to really kind of share it with and process it with. There was no one to kind of say, yeah, this is what it is, or this is not what it is, because people around me didn't even know themselves that there was an issue. So I apologize for not having warned you guys about where the direction that live was going to take. I went back and I watched it, because I always watch my lives and my uploads to see what the platform does to it, if they change the volume or whatever else. But it was clearly like they obviously didn't have an issue with what I was sharing. And what I was led to understand is what I'm sharing and what I'm talking about is being very much watched and analyzed. I'm going to do what the Lord called me to do, because that's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. So anyway, I just wanted to check in and see how everyone is doing. And there was an issue that I didn't address when I talked yesterday about this light skin thing and the roots of it. I wanted to talk about the okay, so yesterday I did a live and I talked about people of color having some, not all, and less now than before. People of color having an issue within their own race and grading each other based on the intensity of their pigment, how dark they are or how light they are. It's becoming much more popular to be dark skinned, to have color, to be ethnic, to embrace your natural curls, your natural coils. 4C is beautiful, all different, but to identify that we do have different grades of texture hair, our even our skin, how we treat our skin. One thing I will say before I go on about women of color is that I believe that we are delicate creatures, that we cannot be handled in any way. When I was growing up, my mom was encouraged by my aunt to throw perm in my hair when I was like very young, and that's set me on a whole journey to how to heal my scalp and how to heal my body. And it did a lot of damage. Like, I mean, even when I was in the process of doing it, I didn't know how to stop, because to stop perming your hair for someone who has 4C hair is not easy. Now that we have protective styles, it would have been easier, but then we didn't have that per se. And I remember when I remember crying, my eyes being full of tears when I'm leaving the salon, and I could feel the breeze blowing through my scalp and feeling the tenderness of the burn. Like, I mean, these were serious burns where you could feel the crust of the burn for like days after the perming process. Anyway, so what I wanted to touch on, piggybacking on what I talked about last night. One thing I didn't, because I didn't want the video to be the live to be too long, although it was, I think it was about 45 minutes. That's a good length. I wanted to talk about in the times of slavery. Because let me just recap what I talked about yesterday. I talked about slavery and about how the idea of being chosen or being better than came from being in a slavery, the times of slavery, the husband of the slave master having relationships with the this slave, the woman slave. And a lot of times it was based on admiring her maybe her strength, her, and having a connection, because remember, he was the head of the household, but she oftentimes cooked and cleaned, so she was domesticated, probably nurturing, she probably took care of the kids, and that's where that relationship a lot of times came from. Anyway, with that relationship, the ones of the movies that I've watched and the tales I've heard people speak on, because there's people who left accounts of their experiences behind for people to hear and learn from. These men loved their children. So when they got the slave woman, there was no abortion in those times, I don't believe, unless it was through abuse. The child may be miscarried, but these men oftentimes had a business. It was commonplace for a person to have money and have a slave. So a lot of times they became enamored with the woman, had a child with her, and brought the child and sometimes the woman into the home where they could actually be living in the home, and the mother could, feed the baby, and his kin would have comforts that he would have. Okay. So now my focus today is on the wife of the of the slave master, the one who was entitled in the house, and who this slave was supposed to be an addition to her lavish lifestyle, right? So we do all these things. Oftentimes we do these things not realizing that we're human beings and we have feelings. And yeah, you could invite another person into your house to cook and clean, but like feelings could brew, and that's exactly what happened in a many homes. There's a lot of people in the U.S. that are light skinned based on this whole notion and situation. So anyway, my focus is on the because I always used to ask myself, like, I had gone to school or play ball and befriended people who were white, and not knowing the history behind why they might low key hate me or whatever else. I had sincere relationships with people who were white. I had some good friendship and good memories, and came come and gone. Like, we grow up and we. Well, when I was working for the school board, we had to do research on this stuff. But there were history books, there were movies that we watched and showed the kids that have this history, and it's not a secret. Black History Month, they share all this stuff. I mean, if you're living in the U.S. or Canada, you're gonna see a lot of, especially we're embarking on February right now. You're gonna see a lot of movies that have accounts of people's experiences. These movies are based on true life experiences, and sometimes during Black History Month, they'll actually have recordings of people who had experienced these things and shared these accounts with us so that we'd learn. So they're out. And this is how I thought this, and I thought maybe people might not know that my experience and my knowledge might not be commonplace. And now you're proving it that most people don't know. So you need to know. Anyway, yes, it's been researched. This is not off the top of my head. I was born in Canada, born and raised. I went to school here. I was not a slave, but a lot of the things I experienced made me start to do research. And really, when I went to the school board, even more so, when I started to do research for Black History Month for my students, it really opened my eyes to my own reality and why I experienced the things I experienced. Anyway, so, and really, it just makes sense. It just makes sense to me. I don't have to know the whole picture to imagine why certain things are the way they are. Now, there's a lot of people, men of color that I know, that are around my age, and the ones who are older, like that could be my parent, black men who had relationships with white women. Now, the thing that got me with this is that what I noticed is that they had relationships with these black men, these women, and hate black women. How do you hate black women and love black men? So it can't be about loving black people. There has to be something about, I believe it's, first of all, again, I'm going to say spiritual. And I'm going to go refer back to slavery, when there was the home where the slave master went and procreated with the slave and brought the slave and the child that they had together into the home with the wife. There's not a lot of accounts about how these women think. But there's a couple movies. I think The Color Purple might have accounts of this. I know there's a movie that I saw. I'm not sure. I'm not a big movie person anymore, but I remember watching a movie where there was a real focus on the wife and how she treated the had a relationship with the woman who was the house slave. I can't remember. I have to look up that movie. I know there must be more than just that one, but that one really stuck in my mind. A lot of the things that and there's a Black History Month, I discovered this too. A lot of things that we use, toilet paper, a lot of things that we use every day that was created based on the people who were slaves at that time, making the home comfortable. And it was, may I tell you, that experience at the board, even though it ended abruptly, it taught me a lot. So, depending on who the woman would be, I'm anticipating that some of the women would befriend. There was just something about these women, the wife, the actual wife of the slave master, having to come to terms with whatever took place. So, if a woman had a husband who is a nice man. He's just a businessman who had money, and everyone who was a businessman who had money had a slave. And he ended up being enamored with the slave and had a child with her, and then he brought the child home. I'm assuming the woman would be a nice person too. And you just come to understand that this is a situation. And this is much my assumption based on like how people think. I'm going to say it. You need to read up on history and not relate to movies. No, it's not movies, darling. I said, this is what I said. We did history. We did Black History Month. So we had to do our research. We did play movies for the students to watch. And these movies are related on true accounts. So I don't know. I don't know. None of us are going to really know exactly what happened. But what I'm saying, you just don't want to hear what I have to say. Then you can just go away. You don't have to be here. I'm not begging for people to be here. I'm just speaking the truth. Okay? We did research. I worked in a school. I had to be responsible for the things I shared. Okay? And we did use like different mediums to share this information. Roots is another movie you could use. This is not something it's not hard to figure out. So if you don't like what I'm saying, please. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. So these the women that I know, there's one particular family that I know. The woman there's a couple that have relationships with the Black men and don't like Black women. As soon as okay, I could share this story. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm going to share the story anyway because I think it kind of highlights what I'm saying. There's a family there's someone that I dated, and the family, the mother was white and the father was Black, and the mother was really nice to me at the time. I assumed, or just polite. Maybe I don't know. She was polite with me, and I guess tolerated me. I'm not too sure why. She just seemed polite. Mind you, all the people that I knew practiced witchcraft, and which is aside. Anyway, when we broke up, I saw her true colors. We broke up because he was not a good person for me. There was no animosity. We still maintained like a good relationship in relation to raising the child we had together. But she made some statements about my hair and stuff like that after we broke up that made me to understand and believe that she felt that she was better than me because I was Black. The things I do with my hair is about being Black and having Black hair. It's not about me not loving myself. If I cut my hair, it's because it's damaged or whatever else. Lots of things, a lot of things will contribute to a Black woman having to feel she needs to cut her hair. Maybe because she has alopecia, she have damage, maybe something happened. Stress is a big, this is why I know that Black women are delicate. If we're stressed a lot enough, and all women in general, people in general, if you're stressed enough, you can start to lose hair. You can start to lose lashes, eyebrow, like you could start to lose, lots of things. So anyway, she started to, like, when she came to visit my daughter, she would make statements about, like, kind of under her, like, kind of laughing. I thought to and then it brought me back to slavery, how, you know, it's a spiritual thing when in a situation where you have to come to terms with a situation that you may not necessarily like a slave master's wife procreating with a slave, and how you feel with this person living in the home with you. There has to be some animosity. There has to be some healing that has to happen there. And again, there was probably once slavery was abolished and people had to figure stuff out on their own, and these people that were slave had to leave. What's to say? What kind of healing happened for these women? What kind of healing happened into relations to, like, that's a traumatic situation. To marry a man, you love him, you want you he's obviously wealthy, and this is the situation that comes up that's beyond your control. There's something to be said about healing overall. Like, we are a broke, and I really do I'm understanding this is partly what the Lord is going to be doing, because there's going to be a harvest of souls, and there's going to be a lot of healing that's going to happen. But it's not just for people of color. A lot of people have gone through things, and some hatred that stems from just passed down hatred. Like, there's places in the States where people hate people of color just because, just even today. No healing happened there. How could you hate someone just because your parents hate them? You're going to hate people of color just because it's just a thing that your community does. You don't have to read a book to see that this is what it is. What kind of nonsense are you saying? Like, you really and truly, you don't have to know all of what happened to see what's really going on. Come on, let's open our eyes and look and see. I think that people come on here, it's a cowardly thing to come on here and make a statement like what you've just made. I'm saying this boldly. It's not hard to go out there and research this. I don't have to know true, like, accounts of each individual situation to see this is where we're coming from. Sarah Bartman is a true story. You can Google her. Abraham Lincoln, the way he abolished slavery, it's all something you can Google. It's not hard to do. Anyone can do it. This is a time the Bible talks about ever learning. Good morning. Ever learning. This generation is a generation of ever learning and never coming to an understanding of the truth. And you are a product of that statement that you made up. I'm going to say it. You need to read up on history and not raise movies. And movies aren't what really happened. No, they're not. Because movies are meant to save the integrity of the people that were involved. They are general accounts because many people were the slave masters. Many people were the slave master's wife. Many people were the product of either grape or sexual encounters with the slave master. So what you're saying is, again, another ignorant statement. If you can't make a statement that makes sense, then please don't say anything. God. People don't want to hear the truth. You just want this hatred to continue and these curses to continue. And really and truly, they need to be addressed. If you're going to use Black History Month for anything, use Black History Month to enlighten yourself. Because at least I'm doing it to enlighten me. I'm coming from a place, you don't even know where I'm coming from, baby. You don't know. This is a healed soul you're seeing right here. Someone who's that's healed, that's willing to share what I know and I've researched. Movies are there's a reason why the Lord allowed people to make these movies. These movies are not just made just for nothing. They're great ideas, but the enemy has a plan when he makes these movies. No movie is just made for nothing. That's why I'm going to say this right now. It's not related, but Hunger Games and these movies about the zombie apocalypse have meaning. And you are going to see right now what those things are. People are possessed and they're just inviting legions of demons into themselves where they have nothing godly in them. You're going to see people acting, and you're already seeing it. If you Google it, you'll see. The problem with this now is that there's so much AI out there. I watch a thing and it looks so good that you don't even know nowadays what to believe. You got to pray and ask God to reveal to you what's true and what's not true, because AI is something else. I see babies doing the Dougie. I see Winnie the Pooh doing the Dougie. I see, I'm looking and I'm thinking, what? The money you can make on just foolishness. Just put someone's face on there and make them do stuff. It's almost like it almost becomes God is absolutely real. We are created, babes. We are created. You must know this. We are created. Okay, think about the intricacy of a human body. Just one cell. I took nursing, and I think this is why God allowed me to go as far as I did in nursing. The cell has different parts. Like it's a very intricate system with the liquid coming in and out and things doing its part. One cell multiplies many times to create what you see here. But the foundation of it is what you see right now. What? I'm like, okay, so what am I gonna say? Everyone seems to know what's in my head. And then I open my mouth and people are shocked that I've said what I'm saying. What am I gonna say? There is a God. We have a creator. And the thing is though, in any time of my life, I never questioned it, but with the awakening I had, the born again experience I have, I know we have a God. I know, because the Holy Spirit downloaded into me. And the reason why I say download is because I think I talked about this when I had this experience where I felt being filled and being warm, this feeling. The Holy Spirit is, God is love. And the love I felt, although I know I'm not meant to walk alone, I know I could walk alone. Yeah, we should question. We should question things. You know what? I did question stuff because I used to go through so many things in my life that were so painful at the hands of people that I love. But I used to sit down. I remember in this very house downstairs, and I used to cry. And I used to say, God, why are you making this happen? So I guess I never really thought he wasn't there. But I wanted to know, what I wanted to know more so is, why did he allow pain? And now I understand it. I understand why we go through things. I know that if I didn't go through things, I may not love the Lord as much as if I had a life that I didn't experience any kind of loss or pain. But I know too much is given, much is required. So I know there's a big, huge calling on my life, because I've gone through some stuff at people who are supposed to love me and to be there for me. And as much as it hurts, I know that the idea that we have about family is such a farce, that the Bible really truly depicts how families really are. There's a lot of betrayal, there's a lot of um, issues with people and families, right? You know, there's people who, the idea that like a man could die and his husband will take the responsibility of marrying that wife, or, a family of several boys where they betray one son and send him off to slavery, or like, there's so many different stories about what a family really is about. This idea of having a white picket fence and everything being perfect is a farce. It's not reality. Who could say that their life is perfect? They never had issues. Even people that I know who are wealthy, and their parents had money, three McDonald's franchises, they feel upset with their parents because their parents were hardly ever home. They feel somehow gypped, even though their parents had money. They had money, but they still felt gypped. How is that? There's a family right now. I can't remember which celebrity it is, where the son took unalive the two parents. I can't remember the name of the couple. They're quite famous, and it's not the only time that happened. It's another family where the same thing happened, where their child took the life of the parent for money. Like this idea that things are perfect. Bob Marley said, "Life is." It absolutely is. Bob Marley was so on point. And as much as I would love to have seen him grow old, his life was cut short, too like, it was just too early. He has so much gifts to give. Look how many songs he produced. You're right. He said that the life is a rat race. He was not. He was so on point, and I think that's probably why the Lord took him. He served his purpose, and I hate to say that because I like to think that everyone would live a long, healthy life. But think about it. He died. I think he died in his 20s. Yes. Menendez brother. No, I'm not. There's another one. There's a recent one. There's something that happened recently with a famous couple. They're actors. Menendez brothers is another one, but there's another one that happened recently. Where they're celebrity couples, and they said that the guy, the child's a celebrity, and somehow he had mental illness. He was somehow not right in his mind, and maybe like they're thinking about why he did what he did. It's not the Menendez. I know the Menendez brothers story, but it's not that. That's another example, though, for sure. Anyway, I wanted to touch on a couple of things. I wanted to apologize yesterday for not giving a trigger warning in relation to what I was going to discuss. And also, too, I wanted to address the wife in the home with the slave master who had to endure the pain of watching her husband bring in another woman and a child, especially if she looks different. And that might be a lot of the animosity people feel, people that are not black. Not all. There's a lots of love between people of color right now. Like people, there's some people who have broke the mold and broke the curse and are able to love beyond color. But there's still a lot more than less hatred with people not spoken that look different from each other, which is it's very sad. It's a curse that needs to be broken. People just hate just because, you know. If you're here and you support the channel, please like the channel. Not that it does anything, because YouTube clearly doesn't want me to make any things from this, but I guess it would help with the algorithm. That's what they say to do. But yeah, I wanted to address. I didn't want to leave her out because her story is very important as well. The wife in the home during slavery, that somehow, like, it would be such a hard thing, especially if she's loving, and she was just there to be a good wife to her husband. And at that time, it was like, if you have money, no, you're not cooking, you're not cleaning, we're gonna get a slave, right? And then he ends up being enamored with the slave and having a child with her. Sometimes it was under duress, like he didn't love her, he just saw her as being almost like when you see a strip club or a pornography. Those women are seen as objects. They're not seen as like someone they wanted to have relations with. Um, but there's other ones who actually had feelings for these women. They work closely together. Like she's cooking and cleaning for the house, and a lot of too. There's something to be said about a way to a man's heart is through his tummy. A lot of the way that people of color have learned to season meat, Church's Chicken, Popeyes, KFC, all those recipes were based on that time. People of color love to season and make their food flavorful because, and this is not guessing, this is research. When people of color had their own homes, they were given like the tail of a cow and the head of a goat and all that kind of things. Even the intestines, we were given the what they considered to be garbage in those days to cook. So the women this is how I know West Indian people are so resourceful, and even people from the U.S. who are of color, they had to make a lot out of nothing. So a lot of the most tastiest things that you can have to eat is things that we've had. Oxtail is probably one of the most expensive things you can buy. Um, they used to give cow head, goat head for free. Cow foot is a thing we eat too. Yes, the balls, the tail. But it's good. I love it. I'm sorry. When I tell my friends at school, when I got brave enough to share that I ate cow balls or cow intestine, they're like, "What? Tripe is tripe is amazing. My mom knows how to throw down some tripe. Let me tell you that." And it was stuff that they threw away. Absolutely. We people of color have had to endure some stuff that had them create some things that are amazing beyond the things that they created that helped us go through life, like toilet paper, and I can't remember other things. When I was doing Black History Month, I had a list of things that Black people created through slavery. But the food that we make, the food that we make, I've eaten cow balls, tripe. Tripe is the intestines, ears. I remember talking about yesterday. I talked about manish water, which is the head of the goat, fish head soup, which we call fish tea. You're in Jamaica. Well, bless you. Welcome, family. So that means you're family for sure for me, because it's where my parents are from. Welcome. How is it down there in Jamaica? Because what we're seeing now is I'm seeing a lot of celebrities go out there and do some stuff, and I'm so happy that things are getting done quickly for them. Because a lot of people go through disasters and like they're still recovering. Right? Jamaica is so resilient. What I'm seeing they're doing out right now, they're already cooking food and getting stuff out there to people. And people are talking about how thankful they are for what people are coming out there and doing. We're under lockdown from this. What? Wow. You're in lockdown right now? I gotta do some research about that. And I didn't know they're not talking about that. They're not talking about. I didn't know that Jamaica was under lockdown. Okay, and I can imagine that would make sense because imagine, like I said, Jamaica's rough. I don't know if I could ever live there, but I know that if, oh shoot, I can imagine. That's probably why we're seeing footage of people behaving themselves. Because like I know, even under regular circumstances, people can be they can take there's rough people out there, man. Yeah. She goes, we bit the hand that feeds us. Lord have mercy. I gotta do some research on that. I didn't know because they're not talking about this, right? I'm just seeing like celebrities go out there and help. You know, Tyrese has been out there. Sean Paul's been out there. Um, White Yachty's been out there. Who else have I seen that's been out there? There's people that have been out there that have been vocally like sharing their experiences and sharing footage. And I'm actually trying to post it on my Instagram so people can see what they're doing. But I didn't know that they were. It makes sense though, because it would be. I'm sure the president of Jamaica would be saying, you know, that we need to make sure people don't get out of control. I could see people going to people's houses and doing, you know. So it makes sense. But I'm gonna do some research on that because I didn't know that. It makes sense though, because things seem so orderly. Oh shoot, he's he's Mr. Trump. I'm saying Mr. Trump because I don't see him as being a president, a leader of anything. He's a leader of his own little cocoon, or he's just doing what he's told. He's a puppet. He's doing what he's called to do. This is something. There's a group above what you see that's dictating what happens. If you think that we actually vote people into power, I know this statement sounds strong. That's okay. One day maybe God will reveal it to you. If you want to know, pray. Pray and ask God to reveal it to you. He'll show you. If you want to know, he'll show you. Don't have to listen to what I'm saying. If you're here and you're listening to this, this is God kind of igniting something in you. And if you think I'm lying, just go research it. You don't have to believe me. If you're here, it's because the Lord wants to ignite something in you to go do more further research. Yeah. Well, you're the same. So you're so were you do? He, okay, so this my dear family here is saying that my pocket that this person, like, are you a male or female? Likes Trump. And why do you like him? I don't hate him, but I think what he's doing is traumatic. You're a dude. What's up? I think like what Trump is doing, I don't think we need to manhandle people the way he's allowed people to be manhandled to get things done. I think we're human beings. No one's walking into his house and manhandling him. I don't think he would like that. I think if he had a plan and people saw he's resetting the standard at what expense, people are losing their life for what? Innocent people, children are watching their parents being dragged out of cars and kill on the spot. Why? Why? How? You know what? If it happened to you, you'd have a different story. If it happened to your loved one, you'd have a different story. You wouldn't be saying that you like him. You'd be saying he needs to be checked. And the Lord is going to, you know what? That's the Lord supersedes us. So the Lord is a just God. He's not an author of confusion. So if he's out of order, let's see what happens to him. Mark this word. If he's out of order, and what you're saying is just you like him because, yes, we do need a reset, but that's God's job. You know, and if God is allowing him to do it, he's allowing him to do something for a term. There's no way God's going to let this continue. There is no way that my creator is going to let this nonsense continue. I watch children on their way to school, their parents' car. The car stops at a light. They open up the door, drag the mother out of the car, and 2 seconds later, she's done. You hear the kid is screaming. How is this cool? How is this a justifiable reset? Come on now. Come on now. You have loved ones. Let's be straight about this. This is not okay. This goes to show, like God's the author and the author and the finisher of our faith, that that He knows that we're going to go through some stuff, and sometimes that's like with Job, He'll allow it. All right. And this is why we have to be consistently seeking to heal ourselves, because we're going to go through things. These children who have experienced these losses on the spot, they're leaving home, knowing the world's kind of upside down right now, going to school, thinking they haven't done anything wrong, stop at a light, mom is dragged out of the car, she's shot, and it's over. Their life is completely changed from then on. How does that make sense? How is their life, them being a sacrifice, cool because we're gonna get a reset that's better for us because of their loss? That's insane. That's so selfish. No, man, I don't agree with that at all. I think he needs to be checked. And I think that God is gonna check him. I'm gonna pray about it and make sure that God's will be done. The standard needs to be reset, but there's a way, there's a means to do it. This is all orchestrated. We're at the end of this age. The U.S. is totally, absolutely out of control. The U.S. glamorizes being pacified. All the sex you want, all the food you want, all the material things you want, at the expense of other people. No one's considering other people's feelings. Like the U.S. particularly glamorizes sex. How could someone make several $1,000,000 in a month based on just being promiscuous? Anyone could be promiscuous. Anyone could use their body. Anybody could do it. I could do it. Anybody could do it. Oh God, here we go. No, that's the one I'm talking about. She did. Okay, this comment was she was shot because she went to scene of a protest. No, the one I'm talking about, she was dropping her kid off at school, and there was 2 kids in the car, a daughter and a son, and you could hear them screaming, "Mom, oh my gosh!" And it was just, there's so many different accounts because now we have cell phones. If you can capture that, you capture it and put it online. Lots of things are not private anymore. They can't get away with things without us seeing it. So you may have someone that they were at a protest. The one I'm talking about was not. They were on their way to school. There's many different accounts of stuff. So let me see what this is. I'm gonna have to block somebody today. It is bigger than me. It absolutely is bigger than me. It's not my job to do anything about it. It's my job to enlighten people about what it is. And I think people who have a platform. The point is the American brand is being diminished. It is. And God is allowing it. The U.S. is Mystery Babylon. And I shared a channel. What's her name? The Master's Voice, and her name, the head of that channel is Celestial, and she talks a lot about this reset we're talking about, that many people call it the end of the age, whatever else, but it is a reset. We are going to experience definitely a reset, and it's not just going to be with the U.S., it's going to be global. They're talking about taking away currency all over the globe, not just in the U.S., and they're talking, and we do need a reset. We are out of order. If our Heavenly Father sees that we're out of order, what do you do when you're a parent, your child's out of order? A good parent will check your child. And that's what he's doing. Anyway, had to just share that. I appreciate your comments. I appreciate the intelligence of what you guys are sharing with me. I really do. Let me see another comment here. Show. Uh-oh. Yeah. Yes, you're right. You're right. I appreciate you. I love when people come at me with intelligent conversation. It's stimulating and it makes me go back and do more research. But I'm not just coming here to chat, just talking. Who would do that? I have knowledge. I've had a lot of experience. I worked for the board for 15 years. I had to do research before I shared with the students. I was accountable to the parents and also to my overseers, the principals of the schools I work for, and the superintendent. So this is not coming off the top of my head. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you so much, family. I appreciate you a lot. I thank you all for the support that you guys give me. I am still doing this thing with the Miss Health and Fitness, but I don't know. I'm not feeling it because I don't know how much. I just don't believe in voting. I don't believe in sincerity in voting. I think that a lot of things can be manipulated, and I'm looking at the other covers that they've had before, and no one reflects me, so it's cool, but it's what it is. I'll let it just play out. If the ego of the main character, dreamer of this realm, is overtaken, then they have to Initiate reset. Okay, well, whether how doesn't matter how you see it. We are in a reset. Things are going to be very different, abruptly, and very soon. That's all I'm gonna say about that. And those people who are looking to be corrupt to try and get that big house, big car, doing all this kind of foolishness, they're gonna be sad awakening. It's gonna be a rude awakening, because all that struggle and all that this corruption is gonna be all for nothing, because there's a reset. We're approaching a reset. It's gonna look very different. Anyway, again, love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate your intelligence and your sharing with me. I am intellectually intrigued and stimulated by you guys. I thank you so much. All right, guys, until next time, remember you're made marvelously. You're a special generation created for this time. You're not a mistake. Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead, ask before I go. I'm waiting for I've been asked to, they're going to ask a question. Someone's going to ask a question. I'm just going to see. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you a lot. You know I show speed. Oh, do I know the show speed? Or is, because it says you know I show speed. What is that? Was that written right? You know I show speed. Did you see him in Africa last week? What? I'm not too sure what you're asking. Maybe the next time I come on, you can ask me again, but I'm not understanding that. But I don't want it to be too long. Oh, I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know that person. I will research it. Speed as a person. I'll research it though. Okay, I don't want this to be too long, so I'm gonna let you guys go. But I appreciate you guys so very, very much. And those of you who liked the live, I appreciate you. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Much appreciated, much appreciated. I love you guys. All right, until next time, be blessed, guys.